Okay, this is Sam Novak with Vegas 411. It's April 24th, 2025. I'm speaking with Christine Shebeck. Christine, do you acknowledge that you're being recorded and you're okay with that?
Yes.
All right.
At least right now.
Okay. So Christine is just going to tell us what's going on with her life, her career, and we're going to see where it goes.
Oh, okay. Well, I was explaining to you, Sam, that I arrived here in town 2001 to do a show at Mandalay Bay called Storm. It wasn't a huge success, but it was a wonderful way for me, because 9/11 happened that year, and we had so much overhead. We had 50 dancers, live pyro, water coming from the ceiling. It was a way cool concept. It was supposed to be Vegas meets MTV. And at the time, it was Ricky Martin and Britney Spears were all the rage, 2001. So we had Britney Spears costume designers. Ricky Martin's managers were our producers. We had Jamie King was Madonna's choreographer, and he was the director, which his choreographers kind of took over for him, and they did a fabulous job. But anyway, it's where I met a lot of people. It was a year of so much experience and meeting people. I met Jerry Lopez and pretty much all of Santa Fe, La Paz City Orange. And so it just really opened a new world for me. I had planned on going back to California, but ended up staying in Las Vegas. I've been here ever since. So I've done everything from that to corporate work to being in cover bands, then running and booking my own cover band for several years until I got pregnant with my daughter.
What was the name of this band?
Odyssey. Yeah, I'll show you pictures after.
All right.
We worked pretty well. We played all the Blue Martinis everywhere. We played Bellagio, the Caras,
Marine.
Tejo. Just about everything.
Was we girls groups?
I was the lead singer, but I like to make sure that we had a violin in it. Just Monique Olivas. She and I became really good friends throughout that. And the band was from about 2008 to 2011, that one that I was running. Because then I got pregnant with my daughter and but I had been doing bands for I put some time in, almost a decade.
Yeah, don't date yourself.
My feet are well, they still haven't recovered. But I'm yeah, so I did it for a long time, but I got to know so many people and make great relationships. At the time, sometimes I am so grateful to my first marriage for my daughter and for the life lessons it taught me. And I hope her dad is happy, just remarried. But, you just know the universe knows when it's time for you to take that step forward. And it wasn't until I had some very big changes in my life and then met my current husband. I always say, I'm in my 50s and having the biggest success I had in Vegas. And I feel as though, I was meant to get a little more notoriety as a Shebeck, as Shebeck. And that's no smear on my ex-husband. I just...
Your previous name?
Was LaFawn. That was my married before. And that was another thing. That was another big leap. I had been in town for 20 years as LaFont. And then everybody knew me as LaFont. All my performing friends, all the venues that I booked myself in, all the special events happening. So it was a big leap to go, no, I'm going with Shebeck. And I'm honored to be Shebeck. But I love it now. I love it. And I think it's just, sometimes you need that fresh start in your life. And that was great for me.
So the changing of your name, your performance name, that was kind of in line with a new direction for your career?
It all kind of happened at the same time. It wasn't a plan by any means. Uh-huh. It just, it was funny. Here's what happened. So we got married December 2019.
Oh.
COVID happens March 2020. Okay. Everything shuts down. And it really starts making you question things, especially when, at the time I was 49 when it first happened? Yeah. Or some late 40s. And I remember sitting there and it dawning on me, people are desperately trying to just do a Facebook Live to sing, just to keep something going. And I saw some people switch directions and decide they didn't want to perform anymore. Some people, you know what I mean? And
we saw a lot of people just change careers, go back
Yes.
to shoe salesmen or
Easy.
leaving town altogether.
see. But I remember sitting there just kind of crying and having this big moment with my husband going, I'm not ready. I am not ready. I still have something to say. I'm not ready for it to be over. And it gave me this newfound appreciation of what I do. So it's very easy as performers to just kind of get into a lazy groove and you do this and that. And okay, I play at this place and that place and not push yourself to do something uncomfortable or not push yourself to take your career to another level. It's scary, and I remember thinking, oh, no, I'm not ready. I'm so not ready for this to be over. And that is what led to, doing a show at the Vegas Room. Say what you want about those guys. I got to workshop my cabaret. And we sold out 3 nights there. And I got to finally hear my voice and develop how I wanted to communicate with an audience.
That was a great place for artists during that time.
Yes.
I was there
It was.
almost every week myself.
It was, you weren't there for my Vegas Room show though, were you? Yeah. Because nobody knew me like that. And I will say, so Johnny Katz came to one of the nights. He comes up to me after and goes, Christine, I had no freaking idea that that's what you take. And all he had seen me in is little cover bands because I was in the A-list with Michael Van Gogh, then Johnson, now Van Gogh. And that was quality music with Ray Allaire and Don Meal. It's just, the musicianship was insane. Tom Lips, insane. But still, it wasn't like my thing. It wasn't, you get up and you sing your songs. The person who spoke to the audience was like, I didn't get to do that. And so I think people were really surprised when they saw, well, this is what I would do if I were as an artist. This is, like I'm talking to Kevin in his, well, I'm an adult contemporary artist. I think I've been adult contemporary since I was 16. I was always singing those Celine Dion's and, so to me, now it's just acknowledging who I am, what I am, and getting out there. That was the start for me. I did the Vegas Room. Then when they were going to open the Nevada Room, they're like, we want you to open it. Which, what? And we sold out 2 nights there. And those were larger crowds. And so that's how, and that's why, when other young singers come up to me and they talk to me like, oh, I want to be in Myron's too. I say, yeah, well, you start workshopping it in smaller venues. Work your way up to that because you prove, oh, I can sell to 50 people. Oh, I can get 90 people. Oh, I can get 100. Oh, wow. Okay, now I've got the mailing list. And it's still always effort to sell out your venue. But once you can get 250 people that want to share that evening with you, and so it's a thrill. And now we're kicking it up to another level. We'll be going to other markets. So we got to build up my social media presence and all those things that you have to do. And I was so afraid to do like TikToks and stuff like that. And then I realized, why don't I just be myself the way I am on stage? That might work. So I was like, duh. So I just started doing that and we'll, build up more of a presence there. But
when you're doing that, when you're thinking about the fact that you're going to be expanding yourself to other markets, do you see that as excitement or a burden? Like,
it's both. I think it depends on. It's more excitement now. When I was first thinking about it, it felt like more of a burden, and I think part of it was I was worrying way too much about what people thought, because there's always going to be haters. There's always going to be haters. I remember over COVID. I used to sing at some of the steakhouses for station casinos. So they asked some of us performers to sing with a track or with an instrument, and they would post it on the station casino. So it's like, we're with you. We're sorry we can't, be together.
Yeah.
And I was just getting over being sick. Like, I could sing, but it wasn't like what I could normally do. But so I was like, I'll just do Blue Bayou. And there's like 10 comments. And like 9 of them are like, oh, so lovely, da-da-da-da-da. One guy, one keyboard warrior says, oh, my ears are bleeding. And I remember thinking, wow, what an asshole. But, at the same time, you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. I think I just wasn't emotionally ready for the haters yet. Now I'm like, you get your first hater, you're like, I made it. So to me, and there was a girl who did a post on social media, and she was like, guess what? You're going to suck at it for a while. People are going to make fun of you. You're going to do it. He goes, joke's on them. Just do it. Just post. Who cares? Because for every few people that do that, you got your tribe of people that are going to say nice things. So just do it. Or if you want to be in suspended animation for the rest of your life, and it's so true. And so now I just sat down. I'm going to be scheduling like when I want to post, but then it'll be from my heart. Like what kind of things, I'm also an esthetician. I could post about beauty and being a mom and music and supporting women. Those are all things that are congruence. So just do that.
And they would make you relatable as a person up on the stage singing the song. So when you're feeling something through your experiences, your audience has the ability to understand that more because they see you as a person.
Yes. And I think that's important, is that we all have something special to offer. Yeah. And we can use whatever we have that's special to offer to be in service to others, to give people something to laugh at, to be relieved, to feel part of something. I don't know. I just want to leave a room better than I was when I got there. People feeling a little better, if I can. Sometimes that works, and sometimes it doesn't. So as long as my ratios are.
I can't imagine you walking away from one of your own performances feeling that didn't work out, because I've been to a number of them now, and they're always very elevating. And it's not just from what I'm experiencing watching you and you engaging with the audience, but hearing people, watching their reactions as things are going on, hearing them before you come out to greet the audience, that they're walking out of the theater going, oh my God, that was so good. She's so wonderful. I'm glad that I came back. Or I'm glad I came for the first time. Those are the things that the audience takes away that you're not even privy to because you're being you. And I see it. And I've likened you before to like, we have our own Celine Dion amongst us right now. Most people outside of the ones who know you, they just not yet discovered what you're capable of.
Yeah. And I think that's another challenge that all of us performers in town have, is finding the best way, the best vehicle to just introduce yourself. Because not everybody does social media the way you do. Not everybody can be at a certain, and we make appearances on shows, but I think it really is, someone who is just a master at it, sincerely at it, is Rita Lim. Like, she'll say hello to everybody's think in person there. I mean, it's just, and it's exhausting, but these are people that find I'm an extrovert most of the time, but with introvert tendencies. Because I can only take so much. I have to I'm not the person who's going to shut down the club. I'll go say hi. I want to be there for people. I'll perform if they ask. I'll do all those things. But I have a little bit of where I need to go and replenish. I just feel a little overwhelmed energy-wise if I'm going all day, and then you get there. I so admire all those people that can just. Kevin can do that. He can just keep going.
What
can't do it.
With your increased success and increased recognizability, that's more of a demand of you to also always be that you're out in public just doing something casual. Mm-hmm. You might want to flip somebody off at a red light. But you can't do that anymore.
And I told my husband that too. Because he's a genuinely amazing human, but he's a no BS type guy. He can't tell his face to lie. If somebody's being obnoxious, his face is. And I'm thinking, I go, honey, you've got to tell your face to just be relaxed and smile. And I always joke with him. I'm like, you are a headliner's husband. You cannot. You represent us. You represent us. So you can't be, even if they annoy you, just be kind.
But how and when did you learn that about yourself, the importance of doing something that way?
But doing what? What way?
Always being on when you're out in public. Yeah. Was there a certain point where you realized?
I'm kind of boring in that I'm not real aggressive with a lot of things. There isn't a lot of times I'm going to do. I'm not going to flip you off. I like to treat my servers well. I'm just kind of boring that way. But I think that's the one good thing about being who you are in your shows, because you don't have to pretend to be something different. That's who you are. And also, though, I look at people like Michelle Johnson and Glenn Holmes. They're very good at setting a boundary when it's like, oh, I was talking to my wife, kindly. Or, hold on, I've already said I'm speaking to this, but they're very kind about it. Because otherwise, you just look rude to everybody because you're being cold. Talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. You never finish a conversation with anybody, and then you're being rude, And I don't want to be rude. I want everybody to be heard. I believe in looking you in the eye. I want you to know that what you're saying isn't hurt to me. So I've gotten much better at that, But those are all things you learn as you come up.
Yeah. Oh, does it even trickle down to simple things like, oh, I'm going to run down to the corner, pick something up, a better look?
Yeah, so I don't get recognized a whole lot. I have been recognized in situations where I'm like, what? I did not expect that. We're at a restaurant, they're like, or you go somewhere and they're like, you think you're just in your baseball cap and you're just running in to grab something. And I go, Christine Shebeck. And they always say it first and last name. It's so funny. Christine Shebeck? Oh, do I know you type face? I'm like, yes. And they're like, we saw your show. Oh, thank you. That's really cool. That's really cool. I will never begrudge that. I will always adore that. I'm so grateful for it. But I learned from people like Rita and Michelle and coming up with all of this. I've always been good with deal. I've been performing since I was 14. But Vegas, where people spend $50 to come see your show, it's just a different level of I don't know. Vegas is just such a cool community in that you just want to learn how to do right by all, and so you just kick it up a notch. It's not that I have known how to be a diplomatic about things since I was 14 because I had to be, because you're always being watched.
But you were working in the Disney parks.
When I was 21, I started working for Disney.
Did they give you instruction on how to interact with guests in that respect?
In character. Yes, they give you the vibe. They're like, so you might have gotten in a car accident on the way to work, but Pocahontas didn't get in a car accident on the way to work. You are happy Pocahontas out there. We used to joke about that, like, girls would be having cramps, and you're like changing your costume, and then be our guest, get off stage. Oh, yeah, it was always, you got to be on. I have been very, very blessed in my life. Looking on paper, it's nothing, big, massive celebrity. I've toured with some artists. I've gotten to meet some wonderful people and been on a couple of commercials or soundtracks. And you think, there's always someone who's done so much more than you. It's always very humbling. And I've never looked at it like, ooh, I've done all this. For me, it's always always been not enough. You fight that imposter syndrome all your life. But now looking at it where I am in my life, I'm just, thank you. I'm just grateful to be where I am. Split?
Nope.
Thank you, sir.
You are quite well.
I'm grateful to be still doing it. I don't need, I made choices in my life in a certain religion, go with my character, whatever, that I didn't pursue being more famous or having more high-profile gigs. Now I'm at a place where I'm open to them, but they don't define whether or not I'm happy with what I'm doing. And I feel like I accomplished a lot here, and there's so much more to accomplish. I want to write music. We're going to be recording, be touring more. I'm excited about that. And let's see.
So you've got new representation and plans for expansion.
Yes.
Share a little bit of that.
So I'm currently represented by Kevin Suker, and we're getting ready to do some recording and get me an agent for touring performing arts centers and just whatever that means. We're open to anything. I'm just putting together reels, promotional material, and I did a photo shoot. We got, and now we're just pulling material from different videos and pitching it to different agencies. And
is the idea of traveling easier as a concept now because of the fact that your children are getting older?
Mm-hmm. But my daughter needs me. She's gonna be 13 this summer. Big 1-3. She lets everybody know she's a teenager now. Whoa. But I know this is crucial time for me to be there for her. But I have my children. We have them every other weekend. So I would just when you present to agencies and venues, here's your availability, it'll just be every other week. And so I can travel on the weekends I don't have her. My husband can travel with me.
So there won't be any disruption in your current lifestyle by adding to...
We'll see you next time, guys.
Right.
No.
Thank you, Rena.
Thank you. No. As little as possible. I mean, nothing's perfect, but with anything, with any job, if I were working, 4/12s out here, I'd miss dinner with my kids, if you know what I mean? So it's keeping it to a minimum, being away from family. Our middle boy is going to graduate from, my bonus son is going to graduate from high school a year early this year, and he's got plans of what he's doing, and then where he lives is going to be up to him if he wants to still split time, stay at his mom's or ours. Either way, we're still going to, he's going to be with us in some way, shape, or form here and there. So, but he's getting ready, he's living his life, and so as those decisions get made, it's more about being more available for my daughter too. And so being there for her is more important than any gig I could have. But if once in a blue moon they're like, this gig is 2 weeks and it's amazing, you're going to get to work with this artist and blah, 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 blah. Well, then that's when we have a family discussion and I say, okay, let me talk to your birth dad and see if he's willing to have you 2 weeks in a row, and then I can have you 2 weeks. So we don't miss out on the time, but
So the relationship's well enough that you could contemplate that as a ratio?
Wasn't always. But it's better. And I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for any, I want him to be happy. A happy parent is a better parent. So he's remarried and he's, happy, then that's better for our daughter. So I'm all for it. Yeah.
And you said you're doing recordings?
We're getting ready to record some music.
With the intention of a full album?
We're doing 6 singles separately, and then we'll put them on a compilation on a CD.
Do you have an overriding theme that you've already selected?
Well, here's what we want to do. We want to do the Michael Bublé approach, like 2 originals and 3 or 4 covers. So we're still in the process of figuring out what originals we want to do. I'm getting the cobwebs out, doing some writing again.
I'm nice.
I used to write all the time, and now I'm like, going through all my recordings where I sung a hook into it, and then I'll write with Kevin and also my brother Johnny. My brother Johnny is an amazing songwriter and producer. So,
I saw
up
that
against the wall and see isn't he amazing?
the thing that he did over at Italian American Club.
So
was
talented.
dazzling.
So talented.
So, do you plan to collaborate with him, just him, or both your brothers on things in the future?
Performing-wise, I'll perform with both of them all the time. But Johnny and I just have worked together writing music. And then I'd love to write with Kevin as well.
And he seems to be like really cutting edge contemporary, if that's a fair description.
Yeah, but he's been honing in on his production skills and his writing skills for other artists. And so he knows my style. And I can come in with a hook and say, here's the kind of vibe I want, John. And he can put that together. He's very, very good at that. Not everything has to go through the lens of what he would write for himself, which some songwriters can't. They're very one-dimensional, but he's very, very good at the other stuff too.
Yeah. Well, how do you define your style for somebody who wouldn't be familiar with you coming in?
That's a good question. I always call myself an adult contemporary artist. And I think that's just an artist that isn't trying to follow the trends of pop, and they're not coming out with the big, dirty rock guitar sound either. But it can resonate with, like the set adults. But I love the way it can cross it. Like an adult contemporary artist would be a Josh Groban or a Michael Bublé or even Celine Dion, Leve. All these artists, that can have either it be, they can have influences from jazz or big band or pop, but it's not overly, they're not trying to be Sabrina Carpenter, and they're not trying to be opera. They're right in the middle where you're not going to hit the teeny boppers as well. You're going to get a good adult audience that can cross over at times. I can show you a ton of people in their 20s that might know You Raise Me Up, but that's not going to be Josh Groban's main audience. It's going to be people our age, and I feel like that's where I was well, with people who just want good, beautiful, larger than life music that makes them feel like they're experiencing or feeling something. But I tend to be I like a string section in the song. I always listen to the drums, when it's growing and they hear the toms. As a singer, I want to hear that on stage. I'm not that, I don't mix my in-ears like to where it's just my voice. I can't stand that. I like to feel like I'm laid back in a radio mix because I get pushed and moved by the music. And it helps me feel something.
So the storytelling of a song.
Yeah. But, like the singer-songwriter vibe, but sometimes with just like larger sound, like I've always kind of felt, like a cross between I wouldn't say Celine Dion, but.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Let me throw an oddball question at you. Mm-hmm. You get into your car right now and you turn on the... Oh, I thought you were asking me. I'm sorry. No. The ignition. What would be the first song that's going to come up from whatever source of the music you listen to? What would be the most like...
Well, if my daughter was just in the car, it's going to be a K-pop band.
Oh, really?
Oh, my God. She is so in love with these little Korean boys, I swear. It's hilarious. But they're so talented. But, But anyway, but if it's me, here's the deal. I don't always listen to what I want to sing. To me, it's how I'm feeling in the moment. I love... Let me look at my list right now and what's on repeat. Repeat on escuchen. Hold on. Okay. I'll show you. Okay. Okay, has. Okay. On repeat. So there's this artist called Benjamin Carter, and I love his song called Sticks and Stones. I love the thing that gives you a little groove. Dun, 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 like those type of grooves when you're in the car. And I also love ones that make you cry. Go ahead. That was So the Mom and Me, by the way. I love when people feel something, like when they get teary-eyed over something I've done, or they laugh. So there was a song called Memories We'll Never Make by Michael Minnelli. Saw him on TikTok. I played that song into the ground because it just makes you reflect on times, where there are some people that might have regretted that they're no longer with you because of how they treated you. And it really did help me like close a door on some of my past relationships. That's what music does, right? So, Tattoo by Lorraine. And then I'll listen to Chapel Run, Good Luck Babe. My daughter listens to Kanye West Gold Digger.
Wow.
And then there's SZA, Saturn I'll listen to. I love... And then I'll listen to something that's more classical. I love this one group that I listened to with my husband at a wine festival called The Dip. If you like horns and kind of vintagey blues sound, you got to listen to The Dip.
The Dip is a band?
It's a band. And this song is called Sure Don't Miss You. And it's like, someday I might miss you, but I sure don't miss you right now. It's like,
cool. I will listen to it on the way home.
It's just whatever I'm feeling at the time. And I'm the type of person, I'll find a song or two that just was new or an artist, and I will play it into the ground. And then there'll be one that jumps out at me, and I will sing it at the top of my lungs, and that'll be the one, okay, how do I get this into my next show? That's how I find songs like that. And then there's some you always...
Because it pulls something out of you, or there's a theme to it that you can relate to?
It's all of the above and none of the above.
I just want this song from me.
Yes. And there are songs, like as girl singers, you're all, oh, please let me be the first one to sing it. Please. But not in like if somebody else did, it's not the end of the world. But you just want to give your take on it so bad. And you just would love to do it. But I still celebrate someone else does. The minute we stop celebrating each other and stop coming from a place of lack, like there's not enough room for all of us out there, that's when your life gets effed up. It's you have to be able to celebrate it, And
you said you say that you sang on soundtracks?
Yeah, I was on the Dinosaur soundtrack for Disney.
A Disney movie?
Yeah. And that
I had CD.
Yeah, it was James Newton Howard.
James Newton Howard is an incredible composer.
I got to meet him, and I was in awe. I was like, oh my God. And I still get checks, like $40 checks here or there.
Are you sharing
SAG? Yeah. But here's the deal. I got called in from my friend Philip Ingram. He was James Ingram's brother. He's a dear friend of mine. And he called me in. And it was tribal sounds. And so that scene in Dinosaur where the monkeys are like, from tree to tree? Yeah. Like,
That's a fantastic sequence.
I was in that group, so I need that stuff.
Are you in the liner notes for the book inside the CD?
I believe so. Yes, and on the it was La Fonda. I'd be under Christine LaFonda because I remember watching the credits at the end, and when my name came up, and I was like,
I love that
yeah.
sequence.
I got to do some commercials. Like I did a Vlasic Pickles commercial where we were just like in the background doing for and it was for radio, but the voiceovers were Ed McMahon and Dick Clark. So it was really cool. Got to do that. And just little things like that. And then started working for Disney. And of course, character I ever played was Jasmine at 21. And then I got to originate the role at Disneyland in the stage show of Pocahontas. Played Megara, too, in a stage show from Hercules. They put gray contact lenses to make my eyes look purple. I had this huge wig. It was my least favorite character that I've ever played, but it was still fun. And yeah.
Well, your family dynamic overlaps with the Disney heart for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
What is that about?
Well, we were raised a Disney family, you know. It's no secret. You know, my family is a performance family, Mexican Von Trapps. And we all have worked at Disney at one time or another. My brother Johnny played Aladdin in a stage show before, but Jason started out playing the actual characters in the park, the tall ones. But then he moved on to playing in shows and singing. And so we've all worked for Disney at one time or another, girl. And that's been such a great, great thing to share. You know, a history to share together. And, we've been performing together since we were little. Johnny was 9 or 10. Jason was 13, 14. And I was 17, 18 when we all started doing together. I was singing by myself, and then my brothers were like, hey, when do we get in on this? And so we would do family concerts.
So when you're a global artist and you're releasing your next big album, are there going to be songs with your brothers in them?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, so funny is before I would have limited myself and said, oh, you know, I'm this age. I can't, you know, do it. But sky's the limit, dudes. Why not me? Why not? Why couldn't I appeal to a certain artist? You know, there are artists that have been adult contemporary artists that still are packing out venues in their Super Bowls. And I don't feel so old. I feel, you know, I'm in the perfect place where I'm supposed to.
First of all, you're not old. You don't look old. You don't act old. You're absolutely beautiful. And you're just in this like vibrant part of your career. So the idea of you aging yourself in any way is
why would
crazy.
Do it? But it was very easy to. Well, okay, certain markets, I mean, of course, those are Dundee. Or my way is. Just text him really quick. And, you know, and you're just like, I gotta. Don't limit yourself is all I'm saying. Don't. And there's still moments where I feel like, am I supposed to be here? Like, there's so many good people out there. Like, what's so, you know, special about me?
Special.
We always do that to ourselves. But instead of saying, why me? How about, why not me? We all have something we can give. And I have to remind myself of that. Because I'm the first person to tell my girlfriends in performing arts, girl, you have so much to offer. Don't you dare say that about yourself. So I have to follow my own. It's very easy to feel like everybody else deserves everything.
Well, you seem like you were doing a lot of pinch me moments when you were involved in Follies last year. Oh, and you kept saying many, many times that this was a dream role for you.
It was the dream role I didn't know I wanted. I didn't know I needed.
Can you explain that?
Well, because I started out in choir and musical theater. I've always loved it. And somewhere along the line, I moved here, and it's been like 20 years since I've done theater. And I've always loved acting. I've loved acting and singing and moving. And to get offered a role that I didn't even have to audition for, who gets that dream? And a lead role and someone that was like, I mean, get out of my life, get out of my head, you know, someone where a relationship went wrong and you know, you have to put on a strong face and you finally stand up for yourself. What? That was like...
A little relatable?
A little relatable. So to me, it was the perfect role for me. And as Sondheim, come on, such a challenge. And then my character dances. I danced at the end. And I did my butt off. I was like so tired. But it showed me that even in your 50s, you can you can do it. And it lit this fire inside of me that I'm constantly looking like for something that'll fit my schedule that I can audition for, because I want to do more music theater.
So say somebody saw you in that production and they thought you the ideal for this new show that they're opening up Broadway.
Hold on.
If by chance somebody just saw you and said, you'd be perfect for this role on Broadway, kind of like what happened with Ruby Lewis. And she is here doing Baz. Suddenly she's on Broadway in Paramore.
Wow, yeah. I would be open to it. It would have to be a family discussion, and if I could have my daughter with me. I think once she's old enough when she's old enough where she can travel with me more, or she's pretty much living her own thing, and I can travel with her more, then that's an easier decision. But it would be something we'd have to talk about, because her dream is to go to New York, is to go to NYU. Really, that's her dream. So she wouldn't have a problem going to New York. But it would just be the logistics. But desire and willingness, oh heck yeah, hell yeah.
Now you were saying how building up to your shows at Myron's, you started off at the Vegas Room and they built up to. So would you be willing, or would that be even a consideration to like do smaller musical theater, say local productions, and then see where that goes?
We looked at Tuacahn and the Spring Valley Theater. The auditions and the time of the shows didn't line up with travel and other thing, or I would have at least thrown my hat in the ring. Not that I would just, expect to get it. I'm looking at that stuff because, of course, we're always learning. That's why I love helping young people figure out, how to perform and how to do it, and understand that even when you're my age, you're not going to be done. But if I can pass on to you what took me a lifetime to get it, I'll be happy to do it. That's why I like working with the kids, like Positively Arts and stuff like that. It's such a cool, rewarding thing, figuring out how to relate to them on that level. But it's been, you can't to learn new things at this age, you have to be okay with sucking at some things. Now, I recognize that with performing and singing, I'm not at the place where I'll ever super suck, like when you're younger. I might just have a little suck, but not super suck, because that's when you're first starting. But new modalities, like new things, new verticals, you might, suck a little bit. You got to be okay with that, no matter what age you are.
Oh, your family was the Mexican Von Trapps.
Yes.
What about your current household? Is anybody in any of your children showing interest in?
Savannah. Yeah, she sings really beautifully. She still gets a little stage fright. I almost got her to perform with me at one of my Myron shows, so she backed out, and I said, I'm not going to force her, because whenever she decides that she wants to perform, I want it to be because she wants to, because she's happy, because it brings her joy, not because it makes her nervous, right? So she had taken vocal lessons for a long time. We might be starting up again, so I leave it on her, though, because I know what a tough business it is. You have to really be set in your head, because there's rejection at auditions. There's nights you do great and nights you're singing with You're Sick as a Dog, and you know that that's now out on video. They use that because you were sick. And how you look always matters. And it's just, I see it, what it does to little girls. And so it's not I was never going to encourage her to do it. But if she decided she wanted to, what kind of a hypocrite would I be to say, no, you can't?
Yeah, and yet there are entertainers that take the opposite stance, say I wouldn't want my children to face the kind of challenges and disappointments.
Well, I don't want her to. I really don't. But I can't tell her not to if it's what I do. Do as I say, not as I do. It just doesn't float for me. My daughter and our relationship is based on honesty and admitting when I'm wrong. And I can't be that type of a hypocrite to her. As much as I would like to shield her from that, she's going to face it in some way, shape, or form just in life. So if I'm there as a support system for her to at least gird her up, then I'll be. But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really excited about this new project, Sisters in Songs, with Naomi, Morrow, and Rachel Oliver Cobb. And I'm so excited. And I was so glad when you reached out about it.
Yeah, please tell me how that came together and what we can expect.
This is years and years in the making. People don't understand. So I used to, from the year 2013 till today, I have toured with symphony shows. So one was a Journey tribute, one was of 80s Rewind. And that's how I met Debbie Gibson. That's how I met Sheena Easton, working with them on those shows. Did a classic rock one. So I approached our producer and I said, hey, I have an idea for a show. I'd like to call it, Starlets, Ladies of Something. And I said, I want 3 girls, and I want us all to come from different backgrounds, like different, a blonde, a brunette, and so I just wanted it very different that way. And we celebrate women from all decades of music. Oh, okay. So anywhere from the Supremes to Adele at the time. And he said, that's a good idea. I'll pitch it. So he pitched it, and we got picked up in a few markets. So suddenly, what? I'm co-producing. I have to come up with a show. So came up with a show. The first cast was me, Sada Smith, and I'll get you her name. Oh, I'm forgetting it. She's amazing. I'm just forgetting her name. The next one, those other 2 gals weren't available. So I had Natalie, who was the Australian singer-dancer. She no longer lives in town. And, I could see her bass. Why am I not remembering names? I'll get you the names. But anyways, and so then it narrowed it down, and I eventually had Naomi we did Dayton Symphony and Dayton, Ohio Symphony together. That's how I met Naomi. That was 8 years of Flanders. Yeah. So that show kind of stopped getting bought because of all the wars of the rights when you have charts for an orchestra. Oh, no. Horrible. Big debacle for a long time with Sony and everybody, with a bunch of people, with a bunch of shows. And so it kind of fell by the wayside. And I was like, I'm going to do it here in Vegas. So I called my producer and I said, look, I'm not doing it with symphonies. I just want to do it around here or possibly just performing arts centers. But I want to do the same concept and I wanted to run that by you. He goes, sure, just don't call it Starlets. So I was like, oh, what are we going to call? It was like Sisters in Song. So at the time, I had asked Naomi and Serena Henry to do it. And we were gearing up, getting ready to do things. COVID hits. We have them come to Nevada room, and we're like, we're going to do it here. That doesn't go. So then we're like, okay, so last year, June 18th, I had a show, my soundtrack show. And then October 1st.
That's been since June already?
Yeah. So October of that year, not October 1st, but October was supposed to be Sisters in Song. Serena's voice, she had as everybody knows, she had a cyst on her vocal cord and needed to get surgery. So I said, I'm going to make October show my very intimate show that turned out to be one of my favorite shows I've ever made, with just percussion and keys. And then we'll do it a year from now, June 18th, we'll do Sisters in Song. So Serena and I met up a couple of months ago in beginning of February. And I said, so where are we at? And she says, I'm still, she did the Bellas to see how it would feel. She goes, I just don't think I'm there. And I go,
yeah, I noticed. I mean, she was on stage, but she really wasn't there.
She was singing backups, not leads. And that was intentional. She did that on purpose. She says, I did it because it was just a testing ground for my voice. And she's an amazing
I'm really waiting for her big showcase.
Me too.
She's so damn good.
She's so good. And that's why, she's like a sister to me. Like, not just a sister in song, but a sister in life, Well, I absolutely adore her. And, my husband and I go on vacation with her and Johnny. We just love. So this was a dream come true to get to do a project with her. And when we talked and I said, we can't put it off anymore. She goes, I know. She goes, just go on without me. And boy, we had a good cry. And we went to dinner. But she's going to be there that night, and I adore her for it. But I had seen Rachel, and as a producer mind, you're putting together a show, you're always thinking, oh, these people would be, because you need a lineup of at least 3 people for each role. Because if we started scoring or we did what if one person got sick? And so I saw Rachel, and she's just phenomenal. And I was like, oh, man, keep Rachel in mind for the list. Serena's sick, or, they're so beautiful, these talented people. There's so many in town. And we have a lot of good humans, not just talent, but we're good humans, Rachel's that. So his name. But anyway, so I called Rachel. Now, this is a woman who toured with Atlantic Star and just sick talented. And she was so excited to be a part of it. because she's taken a break from performing. She raised her babies and now they're grown and she's doing it again. So she's just coming from this really hungry, excited place. And I just couldn't be happier. She's just willing and able. And we did the photo shoot and we've got some other great photos coming up. You know, we came up with that cool concept for the ad, you know, and I'm just really excited to hear these women shine too. And it's my first show at Myron's that I'm co-producing and that it's not just about me. So that's a new thing too, because I'm also thinking like, how do we make sure they shine? And now how do we make sure the audience gets to know all of us? So that's kind of a new vibe for me.
How are you working that out? Who are you working with to make sure that that's the balance that you want?
Well, Megan Delk and I, we still storyboard it.
She's involved in this one as well.
She's involved in this one as well. She's not as much of a producer capacity as much as she's doing a lot of that work and stuff too. She's just not officially producing. She's doing all things, whatever. She's amazing. And she's one of my best friends, the whole wide world, and ridiculously talented.
Tomatoes, onions,
So,
and then the spice level.
yeah. So now it's like, okay, so before this song, this is where we're going to give Naomi a moment to say a little something about herself. But I want to know what she wants to convey because we're going to create something for her to convey that. And then she can say it as she used to say it. But I'm going to make sure it's not just, we never do a show in Myron's where you're just flying by the seat of your pants, ever. Because I think you need to give that space, that venue, the reverence it deserves. And the fact that all those people are as fake. Hey, you're doing an outdoor concert, you're putting in 90, and it's free for everybody, and we're just having fun in the summer.
What you've got going up?
I'm coming it up. Yeah. Not that, see me, I'm a little anal. I'm still going to board it out. But I'm not going to be as meticulous because I'm going to let that one just kind of be a little more free-flowing, like summer fun.
Yeah.
And kind of fly by the seat of my pants a little bit more. Not out of disrespect for it, but out of what it is.
It represents...
Representing what it is. It's a summer fun. So we have the space and the room, and it's no disrespect to handle it in that way. But I believe, with Myron's, keepers spending, with taxes and everything, 2 tickets you're spending $100.
And then parking and the dress, driving to a nice venue.
And then you buy a car, the experience. And so, to me, you do not fly the seat of your pants on stuff like that. And it's not, I don't want just a set list. I want to know how am I going to move people,
The date of the show is?
June 18th is the Sisters in Song. May 30th is the one at Anthem, but I don't think that one's open to the public. Just think it's most Anthem residents. I get a few tickets to Sampton bands to come, but
how far is the priming coming for the Myron show? Have you already started rehearsals?
We've got the set list, we've got the flow.
You just do salt.
And now it's just a matter of Naomi Morrow is actually going to be doing our vocal arranging for this show. And which she works closely with me. I love the way it's happening organically. So this next week, I think Tuesday night, the 3 of us girls are getting together and just kind of getting an organic feel for each of the songs. So then we can kind of decide where we want to go with it vocally. And then Naomi will go record that out to me, and we'll record where we want to go and we'll chart it out and all that.
It sounds like exactly what the name of the show is. You're working together as sisters to make something organically happen.
And that's why, for me, this is the year of growth in that way, and shining a spotlight on other performers in town too. And that's why I wanted Chick Singers Unite to be a podcast. It's not just about chick singers, but it's a mindset. Hashtag Chick Singers Unite. It means as women, we don't have to be cutting each other down. We can build each other up and still all of us be badasses and have fun and laugh. And so while it's called Chick Singers Unite, it really is about just women in general doing it. But I want my guests and my opening guests will all be chick singers and just humanizing us, the funny things that happen. The thing that happened backstage where the time you tripped running back and you were acting like a badass and you tripped, face planted on the stage and got right back up, all the time, those things that happen when you just had the biggest argument with your kid And then you've got to go on stage and be like, how's everybody doing? And inside you're like, oh, my kid hates me. Like crazy crap like that. The way you threw something in a crock pot and ran to rehearsal and ran here. The unglamorous things, body image, how to rate, you got to be sassy on stage, or how do you raise your kids? It just, there's so many dimensions to being a performer in general, but being a female performer, different. And that's not to say we wouldn't have guys on the show for Chick Singers Unite, but what the opening season will be all women.
But this sounds like something that would appeal to all women, not just women in the entertainment.
Exactly. We'll call it Chick Singers Unite, but we're always going to say, that's just a mindset. It's women in general.
It's what you're doing for your art, but you're still a human being in today's society, doing your best for everyone else. And
exactly. And then you got to remind yourself, put your own oxygen mask on first, because you're doing it for everybody else. Mom guilt is real. Just woman guilt is real. We feel like we got to save the universe half the time, and that's not cool either. And I just love the vibe of so many different women. They're watching women at different stages. And I love it in this town. I have friends that are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. It doesn't matter. I can be a mentor to some, be the mentee to another, or just be there for you when you had a shitty day. It doesn't matter. We're all in different stages. Like, I adore Lisa Marie. She's way younger than me. She's just starting out as a mom. But I love it if she, asks a little mom advice. I'm like, really? Oh, Bill, and that's how we support ourselves as women. But then, Marianne Phoenix will call me, and go, girl, the way you wore that gown in that photo shoot. I'm like, really? Thanks. But that's just it. So it's like the passing of the baton, back and forth. And that's what I think is so great about it.
In today's day and age, there's never going to be that one that just passing it on and then going away.
No.
Because you never know when the much great opportunity.
That's why I said back and forth. Back and forth. And I think, too, when you're open, like Michelle Johnson is very, she has a company that provides opportunity for a lot of people. And she's very happy to share that out. Naomi Morrow over Festival. I try and refer as many people as I can. If it's something I can't do, who do I know that can sub for me, that's going to give? And that's another thing. Being someone that's trustworthy, that if somebody refers you, they trust you because they don't expect you to try and snag their gig. They know you're going to have integrity. That's the type of person I want. I always want to be the one I can look myself in the eye, in the mirror in the morning, and know that I did people right. But I have so many good friends that are in the business that I would be their good friend even if they weren't. But it's a common ground that we a bond, because it's a very unique gig. I mean, not everybody can really get,
It seems like the female entertainer right now is the place that all eyes are directed. At least I think so, as an audience member looking outward. I mean, Lady Gaga's got a new album coming out. The world's going to talk about it. Beyonce's going on tour. Everyone's going to have thousands of dollars to plunk down because they want to see what she has to offer this time around. And as a female entertainer, I would assume that you find that a very exciting time to be stretching your own legs again.
Well, and like if you look at like all those artists you just mentioned, they're at varying degrees in their career. They're different ages, different musical styles. But none of those are my style or my age group. So there's like room for that.
Uh-huh.
And you have to think like, yeah, there's room for me.
I did in this
There's
too.
room for me. I don't need to fill up that arena. Hey, if it goes to that, so we do it. But I've played for, anywhere from 5,000 to 9,000 people, and I love that. I love that size crowd, on these tours. But a good, like what the Docksiders do all the time, they're playing for anywhere from, 2 to 10,000 people, 2,500 seaters that they pack out, or then they played an arena for, So I'm open to all of that. I'm most comfortable on stage. It's where I feel like home. It's like breathing. Give me a few minutes before and after, and I'm, overthinking things or whatever. But I truly love it. You truly love it. I'm so grateful to be able to do it. And you have to be more cognizant of it and more respectful of your instrument as you mature. It's not as like, Jim, get up out of bed and like when you're little, Oh my God, I was so spoiled. My whole life, I never had to warm.
A different way of stretching your hip when you wake up out of bed in the morning.
But yeah.
Let's not take up too much more of your time. I just tell me when the podcast is about to begin and where people can find it.
We're looking to start the podcast. If it doesn't start late summer, it'll start fall.
Okay.
I'm hoping for August.
And on what platforms? Or do you not know that?
I don't quite know that yet. I've been discussing that because I'm trying to find the platform that I like the best. I'm going to create a YouTube channel for it just so people can go there to see it. But, and I'll have a link on my website where people can click to see the latest podcast episodes. But, you want to stream it on Spotify or things like that. And I just I'm learning the logistics.
All right. Where can we find tickets for your upcoming shows?
The one at Anthem, I'm not sure that's open to the public, but the Myron's one, it's on the Smith Center website. It's June 18th. Sales are going well, but we've still got plenty of tickets. That's not going to be the case in the next month because we're doing that full court press. Keep their eye out. We're going to be on Marco Tool's show, The Sit-In, on Renee Hale's show. They've all already reached out. And so we're going to, we're going to be on her show for the month of June. So her
Red Rock, right?
Yeah, I think it's the first Tuesday at the Red Rock. And she's going to treat each of us like we're an individual guest. Mm-hmm. And then we'll do a number together.
Cute.
So we'll all have our little solo moments and do that. But Mark is always so gracious, too. I'm so excited to do his show as well.
Our show is always
so good. And we're also doing Dennis Bono. Not to disrespect it. We're doing them all. We're doing all shows.
You're going to be tired? Nah, you're energetic.
Not what you're doing, what you love. Right now I'm just cranking. My mind is a little, because there's a show for an artist that I don't know if I can announce it yet. That I got to learn stuff for that. And then this. So the show at Anthem, we're going to just kind of let it be like cool vibes. Songs we've done before that maybe we haven't done in a long time that we can take a new approach to. So, because my head will explode. So we're going to have a little bit of choreography and costume changes in the Sisters and Song show. So a lot of paying attention to all that. And I'm traveling a bunch in between.
Vacation or business or both?
This weekend and next weekend is family. I'm going to California and then going to Iowa. So I'll be working. Yeah, Neil's from Iowa.
Okay.
And we're finally introducing our mothers in person.
First time, really?
Yeah, because his Norma has MS. So she can't really travel. And then right around the time, like 2 years after our wedding, my dad passed. So it wasn't like there was a way to get it's just a lot. And so now that my mom lives in Vegas and we were going to go see, the minute my dad passed, I looked at him and I said, you don't see your parents enough. One time a year is not enough. So we need to start arranging we'll go together as a couple and then we'll take the kids as a family and then you can go once by yourself. You need to see your family more. And he was like, oh, okay. So we were doing our just me and him trip right now, which is we do right around April. And I said, let's bring my mom so she can go meet them. So they're all excited, very excited.
That sounds.
Hobby Lobby has our name on it, all the moms and. But yeah.
Well, quick question. Who do you want to be the first guest on your podcasts?
I can't give away that secret.
Okay. All right. Then who would be a dream collaboration either on the podcast or performing on stage together, either them on your show or you on theirs?
A dream collaboration, like one maybe I haven't had yet.
You've already done some dream collaboration?
No, I mean just like
any artist. Let's stick with living for the sake of possibilities.
Yes.
Who would you love to one day share a stage with?
And sing with? Okay, like a duet, Colin Michael Bublé.
Okay.
Like a guy duet, Michael Bublé or Josh Groban. Michael Bublé.
Okay.
And then a female interaction, like a dream guest or something like that. Oh, Kelly Clarkson. Awesome. Kelly Clarkson, for sure.
All right. That's great.